And you're listening to 89.3 to GLF. Welcome back to the Relationship Whisperer Show with Miss Dragonfly, where we discuss all things relationships with the aim to make marriage great again. And we are coming live from the studio today, okay? And I have my guest returning, Bluey returning.
It's the Blue looking for you. G'day.
Okay, only dared to come back.
The voice for the men.
To provide the male voice. Okay, so I'm glad you game enough to come back for another round.
Well, it took a bit of courage building. I had to take a few deep breaths and all that.
Yeah. Well, today, we'll be getting into discussing some relationship issues. And
there's plenty of them.
Yeah, there are plenty of them. So, and we've been going through them one by one. However, what we haven't gone through and what I'm going to be covering today, or we will be covering today, is how about the dating stage?
The dating stage?
Yeah, so it's one thing, for me to be talking about marriage, okay, selecting the right partner. But what about when you are actually dating at the very start of it all, okay? And I'll have to say there are things that, telltale signs that you can look out for to assess whether or not it is worth your while continuing, or whether or not someone to quickly give the flick. And it's a matter of next.
What is it, swipe left or swipe right?
Or something like that.
Do that in the dating games. Don't they have one of them speed dating things?
Yes, they actually do.
They do?
And I think it's like only 6 minutes. 6 minutes. So what you do is like a round table. I think more the men move around. I think the women just sit there.
Oh, they do?
Okay.
The men do the getting up and moving around.
Getting up and moving around to the next chick, so to speak. So
well, that's what they do anyways, don't they?
Yeah, they're right. And this is just formalizing it, So it is, they have 6 minutes to get to chat, and then for a little bit, and then the next guy. So
6 minutes.
Next person. So
6 minutes. So what have you got?
Not much you can actually say.
How much do you make a year? What's your job?
I think beyond saying hello, how are you, and so forth.
And then it's the money.
Okay, you have to be honest. What we said last time. I mean, everyone. Why do people seek relationships and love? Because in order to make their lives better. If not emotionally, emotional fulfillment, then actually...
well, not many people want to make it worse, do they?
Yeah, no. Physically actually have your living standard to improve.
Yeah.
I mean, who thinks about going to a relationship expecting it to be worse, make your life worse by going into a relationship?
Well, a lot of times you can say, oh, this is going to be... but you still do it anyways.
Because while they may
this
not
is dangerous.
fulfill a financial need, they may feel an emotional need.
There's all different
And so
needs,
you kind of saying, at least it's something.
Physical, mental, emotional, spiritual.
And all that so forth. But okay, like today I want to cover. I mean, now that you might have gotten the partner that you wanted, okay, or at least progressed with the partner your chosen partner,
okay,
to have a relationship, move in, or even marriage.
All right.
And people might think that's it, and then that's not it. If
it's not.
It's not okay. You've got that person. Okay, you're happy with that person. Let's say there's an scenario, you're happy with that person, you're pleased, and so forth, and you want it to continue. But what would make the partner stay? Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
That's something that you need. Not people actually consciously
think about. An electric fence, or
okay, like their livestock or something.
Cattle prod.
Cattle prod. I mean,
get your leg back in there, you.
But look, the thing is, you're saying you force someone to stay. It usually doesn't work well.
No, of course not.
To work very well.
Any restriction on freedom.
Any restriction on freedom. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people, so you can't force people to stay with you, and it shouldn't be. The only thing is you can persuade. And this is another thing. There are
but you can't argue someone into love.
No? Okay, no, this is at the stage where you've already decided to move in to be together.
Okay.
Okay? And there's lots of, I wouldn't say relationship experts, I'd say product providers, mostly men, surprisingly, on the internet flogging their courses aimed at women to train them how to keep their man. Yeah,
Is that right?
Yeah, you heard it right. Yeah,
So make a really good cake,
how to catch him
smell
and keep him,
bake your own
that
bread,
sort of thing.
bake your own bread.
That sort of thing. So one of the questions that most people ponder that is, what would make someone stay with them, you know? And so you're going to learn the truth without having to go through all these courses. That to me,
that's why you come here.
Yeah, unnecessary.
That's why 89.3
to GLF.
5 p.m. on a Sunday.
Yes,
live.
The Relationship Whisperer Show.
Live.
Okay, but it's the thing is it's those courses. It's almost like a one size fits all. They're only going to bring out the same thing, but whereas every relationship is different.
Yeah.
And every person's needs are going to be different. So what might please one person may not please someone else. Obvious. But what are they going to say? They're going to say the usual, okay, make sure he's happy, spend enough time together, that sort of thing. Or the usual go out on certain dates regularly, you know, keep the spark alive. And what else is normally commonly said, you know, make sure you spend some time to get enough time together, set aside time for you both. Me time and so forth and that. And then I thought, that's really superficial.
It is.
It really is. Now, that's one thing first that I've got to rule out. All the negative ways to get a partner to stay with you, you know, like blackmailing, or look, just really...
or emotional blackmail.
Emotional blackmail or bullying you to stay. I mean, just think, you know, now, what always works is to put yourself in the other person's shoes. So really reflect. What would get you to stay with someone?
Well, I wouldn't be wearing their shoes.
But what would you what would make you stay with someone?
What would make me stay with someone?
Okay, or convince you to stay with someone.
Well, you know, I suppose there's a whole series of things,
but certainly not being bullied into staying. Would you? Not all the negative things.
You can't be manipulated.
Yeah,
and
otherwise,
as I say, you can't argue someone. Look, you gotta love me. Oh, and I'll do this, and I'll do that, and I'm really good at this. Oh, and look at me here. Oh, no. And it's like it doesn't work, does it? Really?
I mean, if someone did that to you, not only would you not love, you're going to resent.
Well, it doesn't.
Being blackmailed into staying.
Even if something doesn't matter how attractive something is initially.
Yeah.
That after a certain period of time, that deep attraction suddenly diminishes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it suddenly wanes a bit.
Wanes like everything.
And not only that it goes way beyond waning even to the point where it suddenly was such a fascination, and then now it's almost repelling. The same vision.
Yeah.
And so that's what it diminishes, doesn't it?
It does
something
diminish.
is like it could be a fascination at one minute.
Look,
and then
like
the
if you
next
got
thing,
a brand new car, you're excited,
so there has to be
something
deeper.
Something deeper.
There has to be a different level of connection.
Yes.
You know, and it goes beyond the mere appearance of things, appearance of being. And sometimes it's like you can close your eyes and then know what the other person's up to or doing or feeling or whatever, you know. And
so we come to the negative. Now, the positive way of getting someone to stay with you is by way of persuasion. You can't force, you can persuade. Okay?
Yeah.
Well, because everyone's got free will, you know. We can persuade and convince our partners to stay with us, but it must be their decision without feeling pressure. True?
Yeah.
It must be, they stay because they want to stay.
Yeah.
You know, not feeling any pressure to stay.
Yeah.
I mean, like, would you stay somewhere or with someone if it was pleasant for you?
Well, you know what?
You
if
know?
something
Of
is
course you
filled,
would.
if
You
something's filled with humor and quick wit,
But if someone
and
if you
things
feel,
is like, well, that's why you turn on TV shows, isn't it? To
Yeah.
get that. It's like if you
Because
can
that's-
find that somewhere else.
but that's pleasant for you. But that itself is pleasant for you.
yeah.
Okay.
You
So
can,
it's,
we know we can be with some people. It's an absolute roar. You know. It's,
yeah, but
it's,
that's someone that values humor. If someone else values
Yeah.
something else, they
Yeah.
find something else pleasant.
yeah,
you know?
that's right. Yeah.
Okay.
True.
So, if something is pleasant for you, like I say, like an experience is pleasant, you want to keep doing it.
Yeah.
Or you want to, somewhere's pleasant, you want to keep going back, or someone is pleasant,
Yeah.
makes you feel it's good to be around them.
Yeah.
You want to stay there, wouldn't you?
Well, that's the ultimate goal of just about every restaurant, every club, every
Yeah. So that's why restaurant
whatever.
meals, like as I was saying,
Yeah.
their aim is not to get you to come back. The aim is to not provide you with health food, because the aim is to make the food delicious so that you come back based on the taste.
Yes,
And it
it's
works most
based
of the
on
time.
taste. Yeah, it's based on taste and also the ambience of the place.
Place and
because
scenes.
it's mainly you're there not just to have something to eat and then run home.
Yeah, it's the
usually
experience.
it's sitting opposite someone else and then having a discussion. And so that's what it is. It's that moment, and then the food is the fulfillment of that. And
Yeah, yeah, that's for the moment. But I'm talking about analogy as a restaurant.
Yeah.
How do they get people to keep
How
coming back?
how do they keep coming back?
Back, yeah.
So they build the
Food.
ambience, they build the nice feeling. You feel good. You feel good.
and the food's delicious.
Feels good and the food's
It's
delicious.
delicious.
And it's even nutritious, would be even better.
Yeah. However, I doubt that.
And if it comes at the right price.
Right price, but nutritious. But look, I've been to restaurants, and the big thing that's
They cook in oils.
the cupping. At the moment is about seed oils.
Seed oils.
And I think almost 99.99% of restaurants use seed oil.
Nearly all.
Nearly all,
Yeah.
because one, it's cheap.
It's cheap, yeah.
It's cheap. It carries flavour well.
Yeah.
And it can take the high heat.
High heat.
High heat
You
and
can
all
use
that.
it again and again.
Yeah. Whereas, if they were to say to cook with lard, even though that's actually better, or animal fat,
Yeah.
that's actually way better for you health-wise. But because of the perception of that,
Yeah.
it will turn people off.
That's right.
Because of lack of information.
They must think they might, like in America, they might get even fatter than what they already are.
Well, the opposite is actually true. I mean, remember in the 50s and 60s,
It's
everyone
unbelievable.
cooked with animal fat.
You can see a picture of Bondi, it says spot the fatty.
Yeah, you couldn't.
It was hard to do it.
But people were eating, cooking with animal fat.
Unbelievable.
Animal fat, lots of butter, and all
remember.
those sausages and
Yeah.
all these things.
And
that
it would solidify white.
yeah.
You could write your name in it.
And all these doctors said
and
it'll
then the
give you
next
heart
thing you know,
attacks and all that, but not.
And there was no dementia either, apparently.
Yeah.
Apparently, animal fats is really good as a coating over the brain.
Over the brain, yeah.
Yeah, and so... Yeah, so amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well,
Coming back to relationships.
it is a relationship. It's a relationship to life.
To life, yeah.
And that's also a relationship, and so... And even in our workplaces is a relationship. Everything's a relationship, really. We've got to deal with other human beings around for the most part, unfortunately, many times.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, it's still a relationship, isn't it?
Yep.
In some way, and you just need to know how to deal with it in these relationships.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you know what? With that in mind, the next step is to determine what would make it pleasant for someone to stay there.
Well, that's a wide and varied.
Yeah,
isn't
that's
it?
wide and varied,
some
because
people
everyone's different. But you know what? I can cut to the crux of it. As usual, I tend to point out the obvious. What if someone made your life easier? I mean, would you like them? Would you stay if someone made your life easier, being with
Well,
that
it
person?
depends on the level of easier.
Easier. I mean, no, come on. Of course you would. Because you'd be better off with them than on your own.
Wow. Imagine if you could cook chips in olive oil.
Oh, yeah.
And give you a big packet of them. I said, wow, what a woman.
Did you eat lunch? I mean, you're talking about food.
Well, you're saying making life easier.
Easier,
you see,
yeah.
so,
Yeah.
You know, and what would make you want to stay?
Yeah. I mean, everyone's
so
different.
that's wide and varied, isn't it?
It's wide and varied.
And
so you think of that person, but yeah, if someone makes your life easier,
Yeah.
you stay with them. Look, the more they make your life easier,
Yeah.
the more you like them, and the more you want to stay with them, wouldn't
Yeah.
you? Why wouldn't you?
Until the pendulum tilts.
Until it tilts. But if they keep making your life easier, if you've been there, them, then
Well, they could
you stay.
they could become a fulcrum.
Yeah. So how would they make your life easier? Is our next question.
Well,
you
they
like
could cook you
us?
potato chips and olive oil, or avocado oil.
We don't
even.
have to go into specifics.
Okay.
That's specific to
All right.
you, it seems. You chips and avocado oil. But generally, what if someone added value to your life?
Yeah.
You mean you wouldn't ever leave them, would you?
I can just tell that you've got the answer is ready to come out.
Yep, ready to come out. This is the answer. Now, what does
You want a drum roll? Let's do it.
yeah, adding value to your life?
Added value to your life.
Now, okay, what does adding value to your life mean? Really? Now, that's the next question.
So that's the drum roll, is it?
Yeah. So,
Ding, 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 ding.
Look, it's more than just cooking a few meals or doing a few things for you.
Okay.
I mean, that you mean you can.
What about peeling potatoes?
Yeah, I mean, anyone can do that, really.
No, I'm only
Or
joking.
you buy
Proceed
peeled potatoes
onwards.
or that one. Something
Yeah,
that.
keep going. We want to know.
It's
We
not
want to know. We want to
easy
know. Tell us.
replace.
Tell us.
That basically, it's stuff that not
Well, you're
every-
going to go for a music break. That's what
No.
it is. You're going to keep us hanging.
not everyone else can do for you. I mean, it's that your life would be the poorer without them. I mean, and it's not about money. Okay, it could be money. You know, adding value can be lots of things. I mean, one way is because the other person's very wealthy.
Well, that's
So,
money, isn't it?
yeah, that's money. Yeah, it doesn't have to be money, but it can be money.
Well, also influence.
Yeah,
It can be-
because look, you know, you hear about very rich men that have mistresses on the side, but their wives still stay with them in spite of this. So what's the reason? It's because he adds value to her life, and it's not just the money. Yeah, it's the prestige and the status that comes
Yeah.
with being with him.
Well, he might be there might be a level of wisdom, you know.
Or something, and then she kind of like
Yeah.
would, you know, prepared to look the other way, because and in return for all this.
as long as he doesn't leave me, you know.
Yes, as long as he doesn't.
Yeah, as long as I'm the one that's here, then everything's
Well,
fine.
obviously, she finding about his mistresses. Lots of women say, believe him, leave him. But because she doesn't leave him, because
No,
he
but,
adds value to her life in other ways.
Yeah, and then also the other way
money.
is that he can't leave her because of the divorce settlement.
Stuck with each other. If he didn't get a prenup, okay.
Well, that's right.
Like I say, it doesn't have to be money. It can be their support, and them being the mover and the shaker in your life.
Yep.
You know, their help with your career
Yeah.
even. So because of that,
absolutely.
you would not be looking for someone else because you're having it so good.
You're having it so good.
Yeah. So the best
Never had it better.
Yeah. So the best partnership would be if you both added value to each other's lives then. Okay, so it's a mutual thing. You know, then you both enjoy being with each other.
You scratch my back, I'll
And I
scratch yours.
Okay.
Ta-da!
Da-da. I mean, you both want to be with each other. Yeah. So that way you can both appreciate each other, and for that reason you'd never leave. And then the relationship will be forever. And why would you both leave each other? So I say it's not something you can force, as it needs to be a skill or ability that you naturally have, that your partner needs or is looking for.
Yeah.
Okay, look, for example, if you're extremely driven to succeed, and if your partner is someone who's laid back and just wants to sit back and enjoy life,
And eat potato chips.
any potato chip, I mean, they're never going to appreciate your drive, are they? However, with that very same quality of yours, if you had met someone that wants to succeed in life, they are really going to appreciate this quality of yours and love this quality, your drive, you know, and by extension, they're going to love you. You know, you're extremely driven to succeed. You meet someone that wants to succeed in life, they're going to appreciate this quality that you've got. True?
Very true.
So if your partner does not appreciate your skills, then it's a sign that they're not the right partner for you. Plain and simple. Because the right partner is going to appreciate and love you for you.
Ta-da! On that
note, we'll go to some music and we shall be right back with more. Okay?
You promise?
Yes, I promise. And I'm in the studio with Bluey. And I think that was a good conversation covering that issue. What would make a partner stay?
What would make a
partner stay? But now the next one is a bit more contentious. Something that not all people affected want to admit. And that is the situation of when you like someone more than they like you.
Oh.
Or love someone more than they love you.
And apparently it happens in each and every single time, doesn't it?
Well, it happens quite more often than people.
It can't be, two people love each other.
Yeah.
Exactly the same. And how do you ever define it?
Yeah, but it's also, look, it depends on how big a gap it is. If it's a small gap, it's not even noticeable to many people. The wider the gap, the bigger the issue is. And it's this wide gap that I'm discussing today, because the small gaps, it doesn't really make much of a difference. Okay. But the big gaps is what would make a big difference, and that is an absolute terrible situation to be in. And I think a lot of us have found ourselves in this situation before, and we have or are dating someone who we're interested in more than they are in us. And we know this either consciously or unconsciously. Something we don't want to admit to ourselves even. So we like him or her more than they like us. And we may even deny it and even try to convince everyone else and even ourselves that our partner loves us just as much, at least as much as we love them. However, if you're in this situation, it is what it is, and there's no point denying reality, and that is that our partner does not love us the same way or less than we love them. And so what this means is, what would this mean in practice? I mean, it means
you can never really be relaxed because you think, is it what day are they going to walk out the door?
Not only that, but we're more, is that we're going to be putting more effort into the relationship. And that's always the case when one person wants the relationship more than the other. And, and the one that loves more will obviously want the relationship more. It's a very sad situation. And, putting more effort in, includes do things like making more allowances and compromises to our partner to try to keep them happy. And we
putting up with a fart or whatever.
I think a bit more than that.
Yeah?
Yeah, I mean,
more than that?
After a while, look, that's bodily functions, and you wouldn't be human if you didn't fart. It's just that no one wants to admit it or hides their farts. But this is not a show about farts, so put that aside.
Thankfully.
Look,
flatulence aside.
Yeah, flatulence aside. Look, we do not dare, you're not going to dare to do anything that risks them getting angry or unhappy with us, for the constant fear that they might leave us. And then you're going to be grateful for every little gesture or thing that they do for us. So in short,
you try really hard.
Yeah, really hard, and that constant pressure all the time.
And then that's there's an
and not being
that creates an energetics.
Yeah,
and it's like they're try hard, and
hard.
That seems to push people away even more.
If they more looking at them more down with pity, or just your partner looking back at you with like pity or even disdain, even unconsciously.
Could be, perhaps, yeah. Who knows?
I mean, look, it's a terrible and difficult life for you. While you love your partner very much, you do suffer with the true knowledge at the back of your mind that they do not love you as much as you need and deserve to be loved. Really? So, for that very reason, I think if you're in this situation, what do you think? If someone's in this situation,
very tricky, very difficult to know.
You really love
what
that
do you
person,
do?
but
I think it's basically what you said before. How much value do they bring to your life?
Is it worth your while to keep staying?
Is it worth your while? And a lot of the times, relationships are based. Most people are because of fears, like in this physical realm that we see. It's pretty largely based around fears, and we fear being alone, we fear dying, we fear public speaking, we fear this, we fear that. And so we seek the solace in another person, in relationship. Because in relationship, you're not alone. You've got somebody else there that can say, hey, don't be silly, you can do that, you can do it, come on.
Have your back.
You got
it's
your
more
back.
Like, have your back.
And you can come from a stronger position when you know that someone's got your back.
Yeah.
And you're in a stronger position.
AKA another team member.
Another team member. Yeah.
It always comes back to that. To remind people, but you're a team,
There's no I in team.
Yeah, it's a we.
But there is me.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so... one loves the other more. Yeah. And, it might be and at one moment, and then that might change. It could reverse. And a lot of the times it depends on, if somebody's, as you say, giving you fulfilled life, even making your life better.
Yeah.
If they make your life better, then perhaps, you can't, a lot of people would take that for granted though, wouldn't they? Like in our egos, we would just... like we've all had our mothers that used to do everything for us and, wash our socks and all of that. And, and we took it for granted, you remember? And so, it's almost like the same thing in a thing like if somebody else is, we could take them for granted as well, you see, if they're trying hard to win our affections, they're trying to win us over. And then that might be repelling. Who knows, lovely? It's it's so tricky, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. I mean, but the thing is, for me, if that's the case, if you're in this situation, not only are you not being loved the way you deserve to be, but also you're wasting your time on the wrong partner, and a relationship that really will not work because it's always one-sided, rather than spending time looking for and building a relationship with the right partner. So if you're fixated on that partner and giving constant give, someone that doesn't deserve your love, or someone, and you're not being loved the way and treated the way you should be, move on. Because you wasted that time. You could spend that time. You could have met someone else that would love you. That you need to be loved and building a relationship with that.
So then you've got to be really clear about what you. Yeah. You've got to be clear from what you're
after. Let's say what you need more. Like I keep saying, people know what they want, but.
They do?
Everyone knows what they want, but few people know what they need.
All right.
There's a distinction, you see.
There's a very big distinction.
Very big distinction.
There's a song about it.
Yeah.
You can't always get what you want.
Really?
Yeah, Rolling Stones.
But a good analogy for most people is like, look, you might want ice cream and pizza. You might want to eat that.
Yeah.
But is that what
Now you mention it.
Yeah, but is that what you need, though?
No, you mentioned that.
Yeah, you might need a what you need is probably a cow salad. But few people think that they, I'll go out for a cow salad.
Cow salad?
Kale.
Oh, kale salad.
Kale salad. Or a green smoothie.
Oh, dear. Kale smoothie.
Kale smoothie, yeah.
That's so lovely.
Anti-inflammatory, good for you, and so forth. I mean, you've got some inflammation at the moment. This will help you. But this is what I mean. Again, people know what they want, but not necessarily what they need.
At least it's not cooked in them oils.
In them oils. But they want to go to a restaurant and have to cook. But, it would be those oils. Yeah, and that'll make your inflammation worse.
Yeah.
Worse, but You don't think about, but what you need is a home cooked meal in good oil
made with
good
love.
We're made with love.
Yeah, and that's a good thing to start off with for anyone, because we all got to eat.
Okay, but that's how you people should think about what you really need rather than what you want. And I know if you're in that situation, it's difficult to let go of someone you presently love, but you're deserving of so much more. And once you let that go, then you'll be able to.
But will so much more come around? That's the question.
Once you get yourself out of that situation, you'll be able to look back more objectively, and you might think it'd be scary to be alone without the security of a relationship, and you might think that it's better the devil you know than the devil you don't know. Don't know what's going to be out there.
There's a song about that too, I'm sure.
Better than the devil you know. I think that's Kylie.
I think you play it sometimes, don't you?
Yeah, I play it sometimes. And you think, would anyone else love me, kind of thing. Yeah,
all these fears and doubts.
Yeah, fears and doubts. I mean,
and so a relationship's like a hedge around our fear.
Almost. There's some security there's someone there
for us. We subjugate our fears into another person.
We mean something to someone, albeit in this case not much.
Yeah.
But there's someone. I guess it's going to be hard to end it, and if you're insecure, you might think that, well, like I said, who else wants me?
Yeah.
But
if you're not insecure and you're happy already, you're already happy.
You're already happy without anyone.
Without anybody, it doesn't matter.
But even if you are, like I say, but in the end, even if you are in the end, you need to let go of what doesn't work.
Yeah.
So you can open yourself up to something that will work. You just have to have some self-confidence in yourself and know that you do have value and know that you mean the world to the right partner.
Yeah.
You just got to find that partner.
Yeah, well, just got to find that partner.
Well,
that sounds so easy, doesn't it?
Just got to find that partner.
Yeah, that's so easy.
I've got means. There are means too. And like I say, that's where you can get a reading done. And even say, there's a readings that when will you meet your special someone?
I was speaking to someone in another country today who's really, really quite a very intelligent person and all that. And they said that they had this astrologer that would go down to the day and you would meet someone. And it would happen. They said it was so amazing. I don't know if it's all true or not, but they were saying things. But the Chinese astrology is Taoist, isn't it?
Taoist
astrology.
It comes from Taoism.
And it's so particularly focused on relationships.
Because it's had a history of being used for that purpose. Like I said, look...
each astrology that we get now has different focuses, different functions.
And the reason why they focus on different things or... I say better at certain areas is because it develops according to the culture. So what's a priority of that culture?
All right.
What's important to that culture? And then so the arts developed accordingly.
So what was the Taoist?
Well, you're talking about in ancient China.
Yeah, the family was family number thing was really
and also in terms of monetary success because but also as in. Would that person add value to your life?
So in ancient times, the parents would consult
the astrologer
for their child, and they would only look at matches that would be in alignment with the astrologer's approval.
Approval. Well, it's more so, look, at the old days, you have someone knock on the door and make the proposal. They might say, okay, my son or daughter is this age. Well, we've noticed you've got what it seems a comparable match to ours, about the same age, and you're at about the same social classes.
Wow.
Them, okay. What about this match? And so they'll get the date of births of both children.
And then they would consult the astrologer
to ask.
And then he would determine.
Yeah, would consult and say.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and now...
Well, that's a first date and a half, isn't it?
A or nay, A or nay.
And so they peek around through the door and go, wow, that could be my wife, or that
or
could
whatever.
be, or
the
that could
kids
be
usually
next.
didn't have much of a say.
They didn't have any say in it.
Have a say in it.
You, here, now.
Okay, we know what's good for you. Okay, so look, back then, I mean, people had to get married by a certain age. That's the way it is.
Yeah.
And so you did not have the luxury of waiting around for the perfect match to come knock on your door.
Social medias and
all that
things
sort
like
of
that.
thing.
Yeah, it was
To
a
meet
short.
people.
It was a short window, wasn't
A short window, yeah. Social, really, you had to get married within that period of time. That age, that age bracket. And so the astrologers, they'll look at it, but it was mostly used to weed out the worst ones rather than to find the best ones, because you did not have the luxury. As long as it was acceptable, it won't. That person coming into their house won't cause harm in terms of misfortune or things like that, or drag their child down, because that can happen because your chart, you're born with a certain your chart is. You're born with that chart, and and you can't change it, but the people that you're with does have an effect on it. And the most effect, it would be your partner in life. But as I say, two becomes one. Okay? If so they can have three effects. Either do nothing, have no effect, either good or bad. Drag them down. Because if you've got an issue there, they might make it worse, exacerbate the issue on your chart, and they say no go.
Goodness.
Okay, it could even affect your life. It's up to that extent.
Wow.
The astrologers say no, you marry your child,
and
marries
the whole culture engaged these people for major
For
decisions
major
for
decisions.
just about everything. Yeah.
So that's why the astrology developed accordingly to that, and it's a very good at that. They look at that.
Yeah,
how it affects your fortune.
That was a major focus, because it's such an important issue of who you marry. Yeah.
Not only just your fortune, even your life as well.
Even the health
Even the health, especially health, can make you be ill or even die.
Goodness.
And that was the maximum. So those are the things they weeded out.
So you get clashes between different personalities. Is that correct?
Not when the charts.
Yeah.
And then they say, and then. Look, it could be the more combinations you have with each other in both their charts, the greater the attraction is. However, it could be a good attraction or it could be a bad attraction.
I see.
Okay, and I think our listeners would know or would have experience with a bad attraction. So, like I was saying, if that person, like a combination means attraction, but that combination could have changed you to something else that it's not natural, and then that's not good. And that's not a good thing. However, some charts, some people can just, because of their chart, they could lift you up. Like, for example, if you had that issue in your chart and their chart fixes it, marry that person straight away.
Is that right?
Yeah. Because then your life with that person, as long as you're with that person, though, be lifted up. And just like what we spoke about, what would make a partner stay?
But what happens if they're intolerable?
Intolerable? Well, they wouldn't be intolerable. The only thing that could be wrong with her, so to speak, is that she's not attractive.
Well, that's one thing, but there's also, there could have been, when your people are brought up in some form of culture, we can see that they take on the traits of that culture. And so what happens if she's been...
Oh, you're talking about cross-cultural?
Well, maybe she's taken on some trait of something, or something's happened, and maybe it's not appropriate for a relationship, not easy.
Okay, are you talking about cross-cultural issue, or you're talking about...
Well, I don't know, but it's, I just think it maybe, doesn't matter. It's all good.
Okay, how about, look, the thing is, if that person has fixed the issue on your chart, okay?
Yeah, it should be harmonious then, is that correct?
It would be, because you have a certain level of combinations anyway.
So it's already combined.
It's already, and that is basically the gold standard.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's thousands of years old, isn't it? And then there's a thing called the I Ching. Have you heard of that?
Yeah.
And that's about like the predictions and all that stuff. And it's,
and I've done it too.
I had a friend that used to study it, and it's like you have to be like a PhD level to study it. It's so complex. Well, you're that level, aren't you?
Yeah,
Academically.
I've done with the coins. Yeah, you
but
the coins and ask for the answers.
But pretty amazing. But anywho, but the astrology side of it.
Yes.
A lot of people say it is so accurate. You can almost set your clock to it.
Yeah.
And you say, oh, like there's a couple, they've been married for 3 years. The first 3 years of marriage is going to be great. Yeah. And then it's going to be terrible.
Yeah.
And then it'll be not so bad. And then it'll get better. If you can survive the not so bad and the bad.
But the thing is, if you know beforehand that this is only a passing phase, okay, then you're more willing to write.
If you know beforehand,
see it through. True?
That could be easily manipulated, couldn't it? You could just find the right astrologer, or whatever.
Well, unless if you don't know each other, the astrologer, then there's nothing. But I guess I know what you mean.
I'm only joking.
But to negate that, I always make sure that when someone requests a compatibility reading with me, I only ever deliver it to the person that's requested, not both parties, not with their partner.
So you keep it private.
Yes, then it's up because then I'll be free to say it as it is, and that person will be able to feel free to ask me uncomfortable questions that they would not want to ask in front of their partner. You see, then there's no point if you can't deliver the facts.
Yeah.
Or be a straight talker, be able to say it as it is.
Yeah.
And then it's up to them.
Well, that's what you're there for, isn't it? I mean.
Yeah, and then it's up to them whether or not they want to tell their partner.
Because a lot of people say, "Oh, look, I've met this person, and we're sort of, we've gone past a certain level, and we're getting more connected or whatever. I want to know if we're compatible.
If we're compatible, should I keep going?
And should I keep going?
Is it
whatever?
worth it?
Is it worth it? And so they would consult this chart reading.
Yes.
To see, and then you would be able to tell from that which years are better than the other years.
Well, whether or not you mean
or
to
they
meet that person. Well, whether or not they're a match for them.
They're a match at all.
Then full stop. Or
so you would just tell someone straight out, look, do a U-turn.
Do a U-turn if it's that bad.
Do not pass go. Do not collect 200.
Yeah.
And or whatever.
Or it's only good. Like I say, it will only work, but it's very vulnerable. The match is very vulnerable. Yeah. Like if there's a clash, that's it. Over these years, you have these challenges. Outside of these years, you'll be okay. But when these comes, you're going to have an issue. And if it comes often, then there's no point.
So does the astrologer suggest that when you've got a lot of connections with another person, a lot of, what do you call it when you've got a lot of combinations,
Yeah, combinations, yeah.
And so if you've got a lot of combinations, you would be able to feel them from across the room. You just sort of know that you would feel more comfortable.
When you meet them.
But, and if somebody had the opposite, like lots of clashes, would that also, because it's an energy, would that also be attractive?
Manifest? No, you wouldn't want.
Or you wouldn't want to be around them.
You wouldn't want to be around them.
Yeah, because that way they could end up being the bad marriage or with a bad.
Well, you wouldn't get together to full stop.
But you wouldn't get together full
stop if you did not have combinations.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just like you, talking to the guy on the street, you wouldn't. And asking him for directions. There's no attraction there.
Yeah.
that sort of thing.
Hopefully not. Anyways.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah. So that's in respect to what I'll do, and especially that's why I say before you start getting serious.
Get a chart done.
Get a chart reading done. Yeah, especially
That's
especially before you marry. And even I know people have kids outside of marriage.
Are you allowed to say on air how much it roughly would be for someone to be able to do that?
Probably not on community radio,
but you've got a website, don't you?
Yeah, I have a website. Yeah,
it's tell.
MakeMarriageGreatAgain.net.
How do you spell it?
Make. You're going to be smart about it. MakeMarriageGreatAgain.net.
.net.
So, and you can read all about it, and I do post also relationship issues, the blog posts as well. I do a blog post and I explain about the astrology and the history and so forth.
Oh, you do?
And what's involved in the readings, what it covers. And also, it's also your chance to download your free copy of my book.
I've got a copy right here.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah, your complete
It's
partner.
not too bad, you know.
What do you mean
It's
not too
like,
bad?
don't burn your bridges, like some of the introduction of the table of contents, State of the Union, what's separating men and women. Don't burn your bridges, why marriages are failing, consequences of incompatibility.
Yeah.
No one's to blame when affairs happen. You know, things
It's
so...
a contentious one.
Yeah,
but
there's a lot of good chapters there, isn't it?
And
that's free, isn't it?
That's absolutely free. So
What?
you should be reading that before definitely before you propose.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You should read it before somebody proposes.
just to make sure. Yeah, you
Just to make sure you've ticked all the boxes.
You've ticked all the boxes.
Because if you make a mistake in marriage, it's so consequential, isn't it?
It's a lot because
And sometimes you can go, oh my God, how on earth could I ever have been beguiled by this person?
yeah, and the sad thing is, people put a lot more thought into the car that they're going to purchase than the person that they have chosen to be their
Why?
life partner.
Why is that?
Because look, we haven't been taught as simply as that, and not even by our parents, that this one decision in your partner in life is such the most biggest influence on your life. How your direction, how well your life is going to pan out, how difficult and easy your life is going to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
So many things, isn't
Many
it?
things. I mean, people say share. They say, "Oh, get married, share your life together, share a life together." But I see that they don't really understand what that really means, the consequences. Because if they did, they would put so much thought into it and really analyze that person. I mean, you know, as much as you're saying people buy houses, it costs so much. You know, it's the most expensive purchase someone would ever make in their lifetime.
Yep.
And they really think about it clearly, because how much is going? Is that suitable? That location?
Yep. And then they end up giving all that hard work and scrimping and the inequity in it they got over all that time to a lawyer.
Yeah.
For divorce.
For the divorce.
And that's the hard part.
That's
isn't
the
it?
hard part.
And they've lost sort of all that, and then left with bitterness and resentments.
But
because of it.
Yeah, and this is what I also say with people that have been, mostly men though, that have been badly burnt through divorces. Then either they blame marriage, or they blame their former wife.
Yep. Well, we all blame other people.
You blame other people, but they don't think of, hey,
well, not all, but lots of us do.
Take responsibility for your choices.
We have to take responsibility.
For choices. Look, the thing is, if you did not assess, if you did not choose your partner for those qualities, you know, on that basis, then you cannot complain later when they don't do them.
Yeah.
Can you?
No, I don't believe so.
You know, just like you know, if you did not, if you needed to go into do a lot of mountaineering, and you did not think or pick a car that can go through that type of terrain, then you can't blame the car. You can only blame yourself.
Yeah.
You didn't choose accordingly.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, you're going to say, "Oh, cars are terrible." Look what my car did.
Yeah,
it couldn't go up.
Some cars can do it easy.
Some cars don't, but you have to choose it for the purpose that you want. So you think about what you need first.
Vroom.
Then you choose the partner that can do what you need.
Handles well.
Yeah. I think the car analogy most men would understand.
Got nice curves.
But other than that, then you can't complain.
You can hit the brakes.
So on that, we'll go to some music and we'll be right back with more.
All right.
Now, Bluey, I think it's time to talk about the first date.
The first date?
I mean, dating altogether, but specifically, we'll start with the first date.
Wasn't there a movie about that?
Was it?
50 of them?
No, I think you've got the wrong one.
No, 50 First Dates with Adam Sandler and...
I thought it was 50 Shades of Grey or something.
No, that was the... God, you've just got that in your mind. It was 50 First Dates with Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore.
So they went on 50 first dates.
No, she had lost her memory. Every day, at a certain day, her memory, she couldn't remember what happened. It was like Groundhog Day.
Oh, yeah?
So he knew all the... he got information every day, and she couldn't remember. He says, "Oh, hi," and he used to bump into her and say, "Oh, you've got the same book as me. Oh, look, you like a coffee?"
Was he after her?
He was after her.
And what, she had just had amnesia.
It's a famous movie. You haven't heard of it?
No, I haven't heard of it, actually.
No, goodness gracious. 50 First Dates. Well, then you've got the whole 50 lines there.
To look over. So, like I say, yes, so in my book, I've written about what you need to look for in a partner, why it's important as well,
Yeah.
and factors you need to match up on.
And you get a lot of information on the first date that saves you wasting time going for another one.
So that's what I'm going to talk about, and later I'll
Because it's a bit involved going for a date. You've got to have a shower. You know, you've got to do your hair. You got to brush your teeth. You got to have a shave or all that. You got to put your nice clothes on.
You know, that's what a lot of girls justify, saying how much effort they put into the first day. You know, I went and got my hair done, makeup done. It was cost $200 and plus a new outfit just to to see you and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas it doesn't need to be like that. But you know what? If you put effort into you have to at least put some effort in to show that you're actually taking this date seriously. So it's about decorum, really.
Yeah, if you turn up all scruffy or whatever.
Saying you're not taking this seriously.
That's right.
With me, and you don't really have regard for me, really, or either that, or it shows up.
Well, in business, you should always try to look the part. If you haven't met someone, especially for the first time,
to be taken seriously. Yeah. Really. Either that, or you're not really interested, or it really shows up the person that you are.
Yeah.
Or what you're lacking, really. Lacking the intelligence, the knowledge to know that, you got to put your best foot forward in the first instance, make a good impression. Don't you? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's where with everything.
Yeah, well, it even goes to the other extreme. You can peacock. Like, it's just a wee bird, by the way, but it looks like, wow.
But because of that, I tell you, it influences a lot of things that you need to do on the first date. We got about putting your best foot forward, and we'll go through it now.
Go through it.
Yeah. Well, first of all, where should you go on the first date?
Well, not McDonald's, is it?
Situation.
McDonald's?
No, you wouldn't choose McDonald's. I mean, what are
we
you
allowed
trying
to say that? Are you allowed to say that?
Probably yes.
Fast food, I mean.
Well, okay. Think about what's the point of the date. What's the whole purpose or the objective?
Getting to know you, getting to know all about you.
Exactly. Okay, so if that's the case, I don't recommend you going to the movies together.
Well, you can't say anything.
Yeah, you sit in basically
bang,
in the dark,
bang, bang,
next
bang,
to each
bang,
other,
bang, bang,
for like 2.5 hours, and then you go home. How did you? Have you found? What have you found out about the other person?
Well, and then how much they like serial killers.
Yeah. It's a bit. I don't recommend that. The whole point is just it's a first encounter, really. First meeting. So you want to just sit down and be able to spend time to get to know a person.
Yeah, you want to be able to feel the other person.
Feel the other person.
What is this person amount to? And
and is it worth my time, my effort to spend more time with them? True.
Yeah.
So then you need somewhere that's not too noisy.
Yep.
Okay, that you can sit down for a while.
Yep.
So I wouldn't be a fast food joint.
No.
Yeah.
Quiet place.
Because it has to be fast food areas are eat and run. And they get the feeling they don't want you to stay for too long.
Not. No, they colour everything red and all that so that you can move faster.
Yeah, but that also what I've heard, that's the reason why McDonald's really turns up their aircon in their restaurants. Have you noticed where every time I've gone into a McDonald's, which isn't much lately, it's very cold. So I guess it makes the people that's not that pleasant to stay. You just eat quickly and go. So
Yeah, the colour thing's red and yellow, so it makes you move
not
faster.
so much. You notice now it's mostly grey or that browny colour now.
Not
Trying
really.
to make it sophisticated. It wasn't like in the 80s or 90s where it was red and yellow everything and everything was bright. But now it's very muted. If you notice that, are they either trying to upmarket themselves or something like that?
Yeah, well, it might have been trying to get them out the door as quick as possible before, and now you want to keep them in as long as possible.
Just strain them, but you know the aircon, the temperature is still really cold.
All right.
So, all right, so not that. Now, second bed.
So you don't go there.
So you don't go there or movies. Okay, so look, and this is the thing, like, who gets to choose where you go then?
Well, yeah, that's right. Who gets to choose? I suppose it's a mutual agreement.
It's a mutual agreement, but the thing
I know
is,
this little place around the way. It's so great. Great sushi place or great whatever it is.
yeah.
Oh, no, I don't
Or
like
even it
that.
doesn't-
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Maybe we could
or I'm allergic
go to McDonald's
fish
instead.
or whatever. Okay. But the thing is, when someone suggests, say, a fine dining area or a high-end place, then that gives it should trigger alarm bells.
Why?
Alarm bells. Okay. Are they expecting you to pay it? Are they well off or not?
You might get landed with the bill.
Yeah, you may get landed with a bill, and the purposely is what he's saying. Now, this also shows up their thoughts and how smart they are as well, their social intelligence as well. If you are given, if the other person politely and generously leaves it up to you to choose the premises, the best thing to do is to choose something not the most expensive and not the cheapest. Go something a bit uneven, it's just a cafe, just for a drink or a coffee or a thing, because that's not the point of the meeting. It's a first encounter. It's more like having a feel for each other.
And if you go on a first date to a 3 hat or whatever,
Yeah.
it might be expected all the time.
Yeah, expected all the time. Yeah, but also, if you're the person that left it to the other person to decide to pick the premises, and if they've chosen something quite humble that you can sit down on, that would be a green flag for you. Okay, that would tell you like the person has some maturity, is not greedy or selfish or entitled. The most of the thing is they're not entitled. They're thinking, this is of my. They might choose a high-end place simply because they think that's what they deserve, kind of thing. It gives off those vibes. So that's a major.
So there's a lot of telltale signs.
So a lot of telltale signs, just even based on where you go on the first date. Okay, so it tells you a lot of things about the quality of that person. So if you left it up to them, they pick the high-end place, then it's up to you whether or not you want to continue with it, actually go through with the date. But also, look, if you've spoken over the phone, you might know that they might be have a high income, depending on their occupation, and then it's something that might be used to. So that's another thing. Or they think that if you're also someone that's also a higher income earner, then they might think that there's no issue. You and I are the same, at the same level.
Yeah.
But then if they know that you might just be a factory worker, okay, then if they insist on that, that means they're not thinking. Or they're not considering, they're not even thinking they're not being understanding of your and taking your situation into account. So that's a red flag.
That's a red flag.
That's a red flag. So I'll say don't go on that date. Okay. But if you're both high income earners and say the man is allowed the woman to choose and she chooses somewhere chooses an ordinary place, okay, that's all. That's a major green flag for you too. Like, yes, She's not someone that is extravagant. Even though she can afford to, you both can afford to. She's not laying that on you. At least to pay or herself. So that vibe would say, okay, that's a good vibe to go. So that's a green flag. So even in the first choosing where you go, you can tell so much about them.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Okay. So now the second thing is, okay, you firstly, though, you have to think about what type of relationship you're looking for. Though, if you're looking for something permanent or if it's something casual. If it's casual, it doesn't matter, really. Yeah, though I doubt you'd want to spend that much if it's just something you don't think you set out to have a permanent long-term relationship. Then and so her behavior then, if you're a man, it doesn't really matter. Okay, I'm saying it from a position of a man because women usually want something permanent rather than a fling. Okay? So it's usually the man that would want something casual. So then her antics or anything she does there is not really relevant because, like I said, if you're just after something casual, then all you need is someone good looking and fun.
Yeah.
So if you know what she looks like beforehand, that's fine. And all you need to do when you're having the date is assessing how fun she is. That's all. If she really does look like what her photo is, she's not lying, she's good looking, and she's fun. That's simple. But if you're after something permanent, then especially so it would be majority of women and some men. Okay, then you really need to consider all these little things that they do. Okay, and the thing is, a lot of people don't know what to look for and what those signs actually mean.
You have to know what to look for.
You have to know what to look for.
A competent observer.
Well, you have to know what to look for, to observe, and also what they mean, why you're looking for those things. Okay, so that's why I'm here. That's why I'm here. And especially later, I will write a follow-up book to my book in terms of dating, the signs to look up for. So there's enough to man from our listeners out there. Then I will be writing that book.
Goodness.
Releasing that.
Will that be free as well?
And at the moment, I'm thinking about giving it free as well.
Goodness.
To help everyone.
And you can get the audio version as well.
And you get the audio version as well. If you're not a reader for a few dollars, then just to cover costs, download it off my website, makemarriagegreatagain.net.
So just for a few dollars,
you can just listen.
Save a fortune.
Absolutely.
In later life. And I think on that, we'll go to some music and we'll be right back to discuss more about the first date. 51st
dates, yeah. And before you get to marriage, you have to form a relationship, and before that, start dating. So that's what we are discussing, dating, and in particular, the first date. So we've covered where should you go on the first date. Now, the thing is, when your partner turns up, okay? Or no, you'll say partner, you say your date. Check how they're dressed. Okay, they should be dressed appropriately for where you are, where you're meeting. So we don't expect each other to be wearing black tie at a cafe, or what?
A McDonald's.
McDonald's.
Like we mentioned before.
Yeah, we mentioned before. It's not going to be McDonald's. But yes, it should be dressed appropriately. I mean, the person took some pride in their appearance. as well. I mean, like, you don't have to spend hours at the hairdresser, and be done by and be dressed to the nines. It's just basically you're neat, you're clean.
Don't turn up with your gumboots on.
Yeah, dress appropriately. Yeah, okay. And so it looks like basically, shows that you're taking the date seriously.
Comb your hair.
Yeah, by all means, comb your hair. Okay, and don't leave 5 o'clock shadows. For the men, if you normally have a permanent beard, then yes, turn up in the beard. Otherwise, it should be clean shaven. Any comments about the women?
Well, I suppose much the same thing, really, isn't it? It's how they dress. I suppose it reveals a lot about a character. We dress a certain way for, and what we're wearing, and I suppose a line of questioning as well.
Yeah, and also because it might be 16 degrees day, and she turns up in a strapless dress, and spend the whole time there shivering while she's talking to you. That's just not right.
Yeah.
Unless she's trying to impress that way. I mean, what would you think as a man?
Yeah. Well, that's she does know how to,
I guess she's trying to impress and just
for the climate.
Show
But that happens
show
a
nice
lot,
dress.
doesn't it? That happens a lot. You see women freezing.
Oh,
and they've got these.
I don't get it really. Does it impress men though?
No,
Seeing in the drinks,
not really.
Turn up in these skimpy outfits, like I say, in cold, despite the weather.
Yeah, well,
So they look nice. Unless they don't want
as
to.
long as you've got to give your jacket.
That's going to cover
To be a gentleman, you have to give your jacket over, and then when you do, you're cold.
Yeah, but then what do you think about her then turning up like that? So really,
It tells you.
it tells you.
Yeah.
So
They're more interested in
the outside appearance.
the outside appearance and what they are in practicalities.
The practicalities. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. And I agree with that. Yeah. And it should be all about basically getting to know each other, initial and more actually because it's the first date and more cordial. Wait. So I guess topics of conversation. What do you talk about? Obviously, you're going to talk about what each other does. It's natural to find out whether or not it's just to find out how much you make. Okay, is one thing.
Yeah, that's the most part.
But it's the other thing. But to be fair, I mean, your work and what you do is a big part of you.
It is. Yeah.
So it'd be a miss just to not to talk about what you do.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Okay. So it may not be anything nefarious or anything about she being a gold digger or so forth. It's just a politeness. It's natural. So you talk about yourself, I guess.
I mean, if you look, for example, if you marry a musician, you're going to hear a lot of music.
Yeah. Or you're going to
so you've got to.
But one thing though, you notice whether or not they spend all their time talking about themselves. That's another thing.
Yeah.
Another thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Are they interested in what you've got to say? Yeah, and about you. I mean, they're going to politely listen, but the thing is, are they really listening? And a telltale sign of that is, do they ask questions?
Yeah. What questions did they ask?
What questions they ask? They seem interested in what you do. They're saying you're in.
What are their comments?
What are their comments? Yeah, I like. So. I guess, there's also code words. So it's saying, where do you see your future? You're headed or something like that. That would probably be a bit too early in the stage to ask questions like that. But, it could be code for, I want to know if you're going to be...
Here today, gone tomorrow.
Yeah, or have big ambitions for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And, of course, yes... Obviously, they should talk about family as well. Obviously, you have your parents, and where are they? Are they still living? You have any siblings and so forth.
You want to know how well they get on with the family, what their family's like.
From the family's like, but it's also a polite thing that you should ask about their family, and you shouldn't take offence at someone asking that either.
Yeah.
It's just normal about getting to know each other. Okay, but from that, if they've got a, tightly knit family, you can see they're family orientated. Rather than, I haven't seen my parents in years, I don't know where they are.
Yeah. Few red flags there.
Yeah, red flags, I can tell you. Oh, what, you don't get along with them? Oh, your parents? And they're there? Nah, I just haven't had the time to see them or why do I want to see my parents?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, questions like that.
Yeah.
Are a big red flag as well. And you take notice, and it's one big thing I always tell men what is a really good indicator. Like, every woman has a special relationship with her handbag.
With her handbag?
Yes.
Yeah,
There's always a thing about
always...
women and handbags and shoes, but
Yeah.
the shoes are a bit more harder to tell, but the handbag you can. Okay, so one trick is just ask her about her handbag. You can say, "Oh, that's a nice handbag. That's a really nice handbag. Where did you get it?" Get her to talk. I mean, yeah, you know what? And she love to talk. And one, you've got some brownie points because you showed interest in anything. Okay, it seems like okay, he likes your taste. Oh, and let her talk. Let her talk. Oh, this thing.
Oh, I did this.
Thing?
This is just an old thing.
Oh, it says,
I want the new one.
Absolute bargain. You know, originally it was $10,000, but I got it at a really good discount. It's only $4,000. It's a genuine Chanel handbag. You see that?
Yeah. I saved all that money.
Oh, you saved all that money.
Yeah.
Oh, and then
And it was only 4,000.
4,000.
And it's about, they've got the new model coming out.
Yeah.
Wow, I can't wait to get the new one.
Okay, and how much does you think she'll make a year?
Yeah.
$60,000. So you can see where her priorities are. Or if not, she can say, "Oh, just an ex-boyfriend got it for me. I mean, I really wanted it, so he eventually got it for me for my birthday." And what does it tell you? Well, you're just going to be the next sucker. And what it also says, okay, you have to think about, is her handbag, the cost of a handbag, in line with what she makes? Okay. If no or not, look, if she does. If not, that is a red flag for you to get out. To get out of there. I'll tell you why. Because if she does not even take care with her own money, do you think she'll take care with yours? Okay.
Yeah. She'll get discounts as well when she's... She'll get 60% off discounts at times with
You'll
yours.
Be feeling
Oh, look, it's only 4,000. It's 60% off.
Instead of 10. Okay. That's the person that's going to be in charge of your money or partly be spending.
Yeah.
Okay.
There might be a big hole at the bottom of the handbag.
Yeah.
Bottomless pit. Bottomless pit.
Bottomless pit. Because look, okay.
And these kind of people, there's no satisfying their quench.
Yeah.
For more. They just want more and more and more.
And it doesn't matter really how much that costs. Look, the thing is, doesn't mean that she'll necessarily take as much care with your money as she takes with hers, but that shows you the maximum potential of care that she'll take with her
Also,
money.
where does she put it down? Does she put it down on the dirty surface, on the things, or does she take care of it? You know, it's like sometimes it's good to have a thing of a bit of class,
but
and we have a few nice things or whatever.
Nice things, but the thing
how
is,
do you treat them?
Who treat them, but also is that in line with what you earn? You know, I think. And like I said, that there are different tricks to finding out later.
I think that's why they got these brands actually exist, isn't it? Because people have some form of wanting to stand out.
Yeah.
And then therefore they have to be tagged with, oh, look, there's a $4,000 handbag. That means that they must be a someone.
As someone.
And that's why they're buying it for. They're not buying it because it's got a better zip. It's
Yeah,
got
no.
a nice little secret
It's status.
compartment.
Status, but
Yeah,
if you're only owning
it's nice looking. It's the tag. It's
50,
the label. You're buying the
56
label.
50, 60,000, it shows, though, what their priorities are.
Yeah.
It's about the showiness. So that's what you
Yeah,
can
but-
glean from someone like that. It's the showiness.
It's the showiness, and it's to say, look, I can spend this much on a handbag. It means I've got plenty,
Even though
and I've got more than you, type of thing.
so
you
that's
know?
just shallow, though, but though you know what her job is. You know, she might just be a secretary or admin assistant. Or just work
But
at the local
isn't it the
mall.
old saying that every woman loves a good bag?
Loves a good bag. That's why it's very easy to tell her habits, what she's like and her values from her handbag. That's why it's a giveaway sign. Just let her talk. Ask her about her handbag. Just let her talk about it. Now, this is one thing. Yeah, like I said later, it doesn't mean that she'll take as much care with your money as she does with hers. Just shows you the maximum potential. But there's other ways I'll discuss later in a later show. What if you can tell if how much care she'll take with your money? Okay. But another thing though, if her handbag is worth say $20, and you know that she earns $1 million a year,
Yeah.
that tells you something else about her. Doesn't it?
You're not getting any of it, and you're going to be paying for dinner as well every
Likely.
time.
So something else. So you can tell a lot about a woman from her handbag.
Yeah, and we can tell a lot about someone from. There's more ways of communicating than just verbally, or what we say. There's gestures. There's hand gestures. There's, there's so many forms of communication within a being. Yeah. So it's not just what we say verbally.
It's not just what we say verbally.
Somebody
There's
could be
little
really
things.
smart, and they're able to hide a lot of things.
Yeah, they might be able to hide it when you're in conversation, but it's unlikely that they'll be able to think of everything. You know, it's just like a handbag. You know, wouldn't gel with them to think, or or they're into labels or things like that. You know, on the flip side, I mean, there's lots of things, and then it comes down to who pays on the first date. So do we have time to cover that? Probably not.
Double Dutch.
Double Dutch.
There was a song about that too.
Yeah, though that is a big one, and I think I'll leave it for our next show. I mean, because it's going to cover a big thing.
Phew.
It seems like it's a small things, but no, it's not. You can tell so much about the other person when it comes to the time the bill gets presented.
Oh, I've got to go to the toilet.
There's that sort
Oh
of thing.
no, I've lost my wallet.
Wallet
Oh
at home.
no.
If anyone's been in that
How on
situation.
earth did I do that?
Yeah. So that's a teaser for next week. Yeah. Next show. Guys, and Bluey, be back, come back, and we do that one.
For the next exciting episode.
I mean, I think that one might take up the entire show even. It is so much. It's such a big thing. Okay, that I think it needs to have a lot of time to itself on that. But
All right,
today,
you're right.
But today, look, we've covered some very important issues
We have indeed.
about what will make a partner stay. Okay, very very important.
Paying for dinner.
But stay with you. Like I say, you can't force anyone to stay with you. It's not right, or forcing by way of blackmailing or that sort of thing. You know, like I was saying,
This person's got to want to.
they've got to want to, and then it's true and genuine. Okay, and how do you do that? You know, you have to be their idea to stay with you.
Yes.
And how can you influence that? You're saying you can influence it by making sure that you add value to their lives. Okay, it could be either a skill, you've got skills that they don't have, so automatically, and it's so useful for them. Okay, they are the right person. Well, those are the right skills that they need. And then why would they leave you? It's a good,
All
but
makes
also,
perfect sense.
almost also, but doesn't mean that you can be a nasty person either. Just because you have that and then blackmailing, then it becomes like a blackmail. You're pleasant. It's pleasant for them to be with you.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you it's pleasant for them
Gotta
to
be
be with you.
enjoyable.
It's enjoyable. Yeah, they are better off with you than without. Because remember, the more someone makes your life easier, the more you like them and the more you want to be with them. Is that true? It's like
How
all
simple
of us.
is that?
All of that. Just remember that adding value to that person's life. And it's good. Even the best thing is if you both add value to each other's lives. You both bring along things that the other person doesn't have but need.
Right hand, left hand.
Right hand, left hand. Yeah. You always think and you always want to be together. That both of you want to be together. Okay? And though the other thing is, you know, when you want to be with someone more than they want to be with you. Like that is a sad situation, as I was saying. It's a terrible situation for someone to be with.
And isn't
to
it the
be
case? It's nearly every single relationship. There's
Well,
always
no,
that. And it could
difference
vary.
is-
It could vary. Like sometimes, couldn't it? This week it could be.
Yeah, but
It could change a
it
lot.
could have, as long as there is the variation, the gap is small. Then that's fine. But if it's a big gap, then that's really sad. I mean,
Yeah,
you have
big
to
gap.
be, you know, make more allowances to your partner, more compromises for your partner, and walking on eggshells. You're afraid of upsetting your partner. At least they leave you, that sort of thing. That, you know, people deserve more than that.
Yeah,
Absolutely more than that.
that's another topic matter for next week.
So that's it for this week. I hope you've enjoyed the show, and remember to follow me on Facebook. I've got 2 Facebook accounts, Miss Dragonfly and also Make Marriage Great Again. So I do post different things on both pages. So please follow both if you can, but at least follow one. And let me know what you think of this week's show by leaving your comments there. And if there's anything you'd like me to cover, then feel free to leave the suggestion there as well. And if I'm able to cover it, then I will. Okay?
Yay!
Okay. And anything else? Also, don't forget to download your free copy of my book, Your Complete Partner, by visiting my website, makemarriagegreatagain.net. Also, lots of other articles there you can read through regarding posts regarding relationships, and also those especially for men and especially for women as well. Because men and women have different needs, as you know. So make sure you get your free copy. But if you're not a reader, but rather listen, there's also an audiobook version of that for a few dollars just to cover costs. Okay? So that's the show for this week. I hope you've enjoyed it. And don't forget to tune in same time next week. So until then, it's bye for now. And thank you so much for coming in again, Bluey. Okay?
No worries.
Yeah, hope
Nice,
I can convince
Nice
you
to be here.
convince you to come back again next week.
And we also discussed astrology.
And we also discussed astrology as well. It is a very, very useful tool. Okay. Nation also almost like a cheat sheet, or so to speak. You can get to know what the other person is really like, and they cannot lie. And if you really are a match, you know, no matter how much a pretense of that person or how much a mask the other person puts up, it will, you know, their chart can't lie.
The charts can never lie.
Cannot lie, whether or not you're compatible or not. Okay, and there's no point in them giving you providing a fake date of birth either, because they have no idea whether or not that would generate a chart that's compatible with you. So that's food for thought for a lot of people. And yeah, I just say again, don't forget to join me again same time next week. And until then,
Same time, same place. 89.3. 2GLFFM.
So until then, it's bye for now.